Hello and welcome everyone to a new video today on this channel. And today I wanted to discuss a topic that is very important because it's one of the claims that Israeli agents like to repeat over and over and over again. And that point that they keep repeating over and over and over again is that the Palestinians are so awful that nobody wants to help them. Why don't the Arab help them? Why don't the Arabs help them? So on and so forth. And one of these agents, literally, is the so-called son of Hamas, who is now discussing this part. And I want you to listen to what he said, and I'm going to respond in kind. First, let's hear what he said.
He bullied the king and he interfered with the national security of Jordan until the king got fed up with him. And Black September happened, where the king buried thousands of Yasser Arafat fighters, and Yasser Arafat and his forces were expelled to Lebanon. But in Lebanon, Yasser Arafat wouldn't stay quiet. He interfered with internal issues, and as a result of that, the Lebanese civil war happened, where devastated Lebanon. Until today, Lebanese people paying the price. So wherever Yasser Arafat or what's so-called Palestinian revolution moved, they brought destruction, they brought trouble, corruption, violence. So yes, the Arab countries prefer not to have any Palestinian refugee on their soil.
So the point.
First of all, regardless of what this mouthpiece has to say, because that's not important, of course. What he's saying here is that he's saying that Palestinians in every country that they enter, they start to make trouble and interfere and stuff like that. First of all, I'm not gonna discuss the stuff he said about kicking the of Yasser Arafat fighters and stuff like that, because Yasser Arafat was actually from Fatah, not Hamas at all. So this has nothing to do with Hamas. This is actually the movement of Yasser Arafat, Fatah, and Fatah is now basically completely, demilitarized. First of all, so what he's saying is that they make trouble, fine. Now they are demilitarized. They are the basis of the so-called Palestinian Authority right now. So I say so-called because many people don't actually recognize it as an official authority, but the Israelis keep pushing it as an official authority, and they deal with it as an official authority in an official capacity. So the Israelis are dealing with the ones he is inciting and saying that they incite trouble as the head of state for the Palestinians, the ones they deal with. Of course, a contradiction, but the point that he said about Lebanon is simply a flat-out lie. The Lebanese civil war had absolutely nothing to do with Palestinians. The turmoil and the embers for the Lebanese civil war were boiling over long before the whole Palestinian issue even happened. The whole thing started when Lebanon was first conceived as a country. That's because Lebanon has like a lot of different sects and groups living in the same country, and these sects and groups don't exactly get along, and there were many troubles and problems and issues and conflicts that happened prior to the civil war itself, skirmishes, if you will, that happened between these groups, and they actually used violence on each other long before the civil war happened. The civil war is actually a particular issue of Lebanon that happened because of these many contradicting and sects that live in the same country. and we have the very same problems actually existing in other places for the very same reasons. It's because when the British and the French started to dissect the Ottoman Empire, they started putting people who don't actually get along together, just like what happened in Iraq. So the whole thing that he's saying that the civil war of Lebanon happened, I'm pretty sure you can find hundreds upon hundreds of sources, if you don't believe me, that can dissect the Lebanese civil war, and you would not find any mention, uh, or maybe just a brief glimpse of the whole situation that has anything to do with the Palestinian, because you don't start a civil war because you have refugees. That doesn't happen. And I will tell you why that doesn't happen. Is because, first of all, the whole thing that the Arabs do not help the Palestinians is actually a flat out lie. It simply is not true. They keep repeating it, but it's not true. For example, here is the refugee situation in the whole world. There are nearly 2.4 million registered Palestinian refugees. Half of the total of all Palestinian refugees, Jordan is home to the largest number. So first we have Jordan has almost half of the total of these refugees in Jordan already there, followed by Syria, around over half a million, and Lebanon also almost half a million. Okay, so much so that Jordan has 20% of the population as Palestinians. Sorry. So and by the way, Egypt has around 50. The estimates go from 50,000 to 100,000 or 110,000. It's not accurate numbers for many reasons, but let's go with the lowest estimate and say around 50,000. Okay, 50,000. So Egypt. So from all the refugees, of the Palestinian refugees, almost all of them are actually in Arab countries. So they are all lying. That doesn't happen. The Arab countries do host the largest number of Palestinian refugees. Okay, that's first of all. So they are flat out lying. Second of all, why would we host Palestinians? Not because there is some sort of animosity or problems or the kind of shit that they keep saying, because it's bollocks. The truth is, we believe that the Palestinians have their own land. Either whether you believe that these lands are the ones that are recognized by the UN, or you believe that the Palestinians have the right to the entirety of Palestine, either way, the Palestinians have their own land. Why should they leave their own land that they have been living on for thousands of years, literally thousands of years? The Arabs alone, the conquest of Arabia, of the region, is 1400 years old, and that's only the conquest, and that's just the conquest of the Arabs of the region. When they conquered it from the Romans, they conquered it 1400 years ago. 1400 years ago. So the Apennine region, the Arabs alone, Muslims, let's say, for 1400 years, and you just want them to leave for what exactly? For what reason exactly? So that the Jews would take it? Why? Should we give Bulgaria back to the I don't know, the Greeks, I guess, because the Greeks are the modern day Greece is actually culturally influenced by the by the Byzantine Empire, and the Byzantine Empire is the one that held the lands that is now known as Bulgaria. So should we give Bulgaria to the Greeks? I don't know. Should we? Or Hungary? Or maybe just kick all of the French outside of France? Because by the way, the Franks, who are the where the name France comes from, these tribes were actually from the Lower Rhine. They're not from Gaul, which was the name of the region. It was not. They were not from Gaul. They were actually from the Lower Rhine, and they came and defeated the Romans, and they settled in Gaul, which is now known as France, because these tribes were known as the Franks. So I ask, should we do any of that? I mean, yeah. I mean, by this logic, yeah, why not? Sure, let's do it. Go ahead, do it. Of course you wouldn't, because that's a stupid fucking argument. That's what it is. So first of all, the Palestinians shouldn't leave their land. So first of all, it doesn't happen. Most of the Palestinians who are outside of Palestine are living in Arab countries already. Second of all, why should we even support something like the act of the relocating the Palestinians or dispossession of the Palestinians? Why should we even support something like that? They have their own land and they have the right to return to their land. And third of all, and this is the perspective of myself as an Egyptian. Third of all, the reason why you don't hear the word refugees, because we don't use it. We do not treat them as refugees. Now, a lot of people are going to say, what about the Egyptian government? The Egyptian government treats everyone equally as awful, okay? It treats the Egyptians even worse than anybody else, okay? Let's just put it like that, okay? So I'm not going to talk about the Egyptian government. I'm talking about the Egyptian people. As the Egyptian people, we do not treat the Palestinians any different. Hell, we even had Iraqi, Syrian, we have from Yemen, and now Sudan. We have refugees from all of these areas that have had conflicts in them, and we just don't care. It's like nothing, just like normal day shit, because we're not like you. We are not like the West, where the West treats everyone who comes to their country trying to flee a war or some sort of catastrophe, like some sort of plague. No, keep them out, kick them out, and all that kind of stuff. We don't do that. These are our people. These are ours, and they are welcome to stay as long as they want, as long as they need. Of course, we want them to return home. Of course, we want them to have their land back. Of course, we want all of these wars to end. Why wouldn't we? But we would not do it by destroying their cause and by destroying their right of return. We would not do that. That is the actual and real reasons why you do not hear about this so much, why why the Israelis are using that to spread their lies and say that the Arabs do not want to help their brothers. And the greatest reason for that is actually our governments are so pathetic that they do not contend such allegations. They do not. They don't do it, even though the numbers speak for themselves, and that we do help. But our governments are just pathetic. I don't know what else I can say. They're just pathetic. Which brings us to my other point I wanted to discuss, that this piece of shit, I have no other thing to call him, this piece of shit. And why I call him a piece of shit is not because he criticizes Hamas, because Hamas is a government, and to criticize the government should be your right. You should have the right to criticize your government, regardless. The reason why I call him a piece of shit is that because he's not criticizing his government, he's criticizing his people as a whole. That is the highest levels of treason. This thing is a traitor. There is nothing else to describe him. He's not a defector or some sort of a good guy. There is nothing good. There is no good bone in him, because he is lying about his own people, not just criticizing the government or criticizing a problem of sorts. He is actively working against his people and spreading Israeli lies. And as for these Israeli lies, I'm not the only one to think that this is an absurd allegation, because Dr. Norman Finkelstein had something to say about that. And here's what he had to say about that whole very same discussion with the very same words. So this piece of shit is repeating the very same words that is really talksperson or whatever they call them say.
Read him out. Nobody wants to help them. Why?
This is a difficult. I'll tell you what. Let's pause for a moment. Thank you.
I'll answer in one simple sentence.
Make your point. Make your point. But we're going to.
Any of the European countries or the United States want Jews before the Nazi Holocaust? Maybe the Jews were like the Palestinians. They were so horrible. They were so vicious. They were so bestial, or as the current Israeli government calls them, human animals. Maybe that's why none of the European countries and the United States didn't want them. Do you think that's the reason?
This is not easy. This is not easy, but we're going to have to. Gentlemen.
Do you think that's the reason you're smiling, but your stupid smirk won't change the fact that the very argument you used was used by Hitler.
Sir?
Yeah, the same argument you used was used by Hitler
because I'm a Jew,
to justify the
and you don't like
extermination of the
Jews, do
Jews.
you?
Gentlemen.
Your argument was used by Hitler to justify the extermination of the Jews. Nobody.
What's my argument?
Wants
What's my argument?
Nobody
What's my
wants
argument?
them because they're so terrible and so horrible. You're a Nazi speaking now in those kinds of arguments.
The funny, this has become very contentious. We're going to take a break. I want to.
So, as I said, and as Dr. Norman here says, this is an absurd and disgusting argument, and it targets to its target, and its goal is to dehumanize the Palestinians as a people. So this whole argument is not only based on lies, as I have just showed you, that it is based on lies. Okay? See, this is just happening over. Around 2.5 million Palestinian refugees here. In Lebanon, 500,000. In Syria, over 500,000. So these are the countries that have the Palestinian refugees. And of course, they are refugees within their own land, which is really like, I don't know what to say about that. And as for Egypt, as I said, the estimates are around 50,000 to 110,000. So I really, really do not understand what they're talking about here. But the reason they keep repeating this is because we do not contest these allegations. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because this video is very important, because this narrative keeps being repeated over and over again, and nobody's contesting it. Even Douglas Murray, this media, Western media mouthpiece, repeated it and even mentioned Egypt. Do not mention Egypt, you son of a bitch. You do not get to mention Egypt. You have no right to talk about Egypt. You're not gonna throw us in with you in your crime. We're not involved in this crime. Even if the Egyptian government keeps doing its absolutely quite disgraceful policies, we do not care. We care for our people. They are our people. We care for them, and we support them to the last man, woman, and child. Look here. They say, why won't Egypt accept Palestinians? They say that, well, while a sizable Palestinian community somewhere between continues to reside in Egypt, and they say they won't accept them. They consider that since we do not give them citizenship, that we do not accept them. We do not give them citizenship because they're not Egyptians, sir. They're Palestinians. They have their land, they have their rights, and they have the right to return to that land. Well, what a joke. What a load of bullshit. What a load of bullshit. This whole thing has been lie after lie after lie after lie. And they have absolutely no shame. And we will not let them. We will not let them lie in our name. I will not let them lie in my name. As an Egyptian, I will not let them lie in my name. Thank you all for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe if you like the content. And please spread the message as much as you can. And I thank you for watching.